Can we rewind that? Can we go back to that part where you said... What? But again, power of persuasion and manipulation. So when in their minds, they're like, the fuck? This dude resurrected people from the dead. I'm gonna follow this fucker. Yeah! And henceforth, that's when you see all these cults forming. There's just so many people in them. It's crazy. It's crazy. I mean, the power of words and the weight that words have, which is, I think, something people don't seem to understand, and a lot of people take words for granted, or take their own words, what they say, for granted, or the lack of understanding and caring that the words that come out of your mouth have meaning and weight to it, even if it's not intended to. All words have weight to it. I mean, if that wouldn't be the case, people wouldn't be offended by what other people say. But that shit happens all the time. That can also be applied to cult leaders, and that power of persuasion, and the fact that they're able to, again, use words to get people to do what they want, and they end up doing it. Crazy topic. And cults are, it's why I find them fascinating, is because, again, it's how one individual can make so many people think something. Like, that's crazy. I don't understand why people didn't like Far Cry 5. I don't, okay, it's not the perfect game. It's not but it's not the best game in the world, but I really liked it because the concept of how they were presenting a cult, mind you, it was a little bit exaggerated because it's a video game, but the way they were presenting a cult, dude, that's exactly how it is. Like, if anyone here in chat has played Far Cry 5, the father, Joseph Seed, that's like the main villain, Mac Daddy. He's a cult leader. Like, the whole point of the game is that you're fighting against the cult leader that has complete control over a town, and that's exactly how it is. And if you can get the chance, there's a really interesting, like, they for Far Cry's, they tend to do like these little live action short films. The one for Far Cry 5 is really interesting because it obviously deals with the topic of cults. If you can check it out, please check it out. It's on YouTube. It's like 15 minutes, 20 minutes long. Again, it's pretty interesting. That's exactly how it is. And that's exactly how cult leaders operate, and that the control is just, that's insane. You did. I loved Far Cry 5 too. I had a really good time to it. All the little things, the little hidden things that it has. Like, you have to pay a lot of attention to the game, or you miss out on a lot of interesting, like, information that they write on, like, the papers that you find and all that crap. I thought it was really interesting. And again, the topic was I thought it was so awesome. I really did. It's okay. It's good. I mean, I'm not gonna take the experience away from anyone. It's different, but it's, if you liked the other Far Cries, you'll probably like it as well. But 5 specifically is my favorite, my personal favorite, because I like the topic of cults a lot. And thank you so much for being here with me tonight. I really appreciate it. Moving on.
AM radio station began to play his sermons, Jones started to see greater success, and more people flocked to hear his radical message. Around this time, Jones was known to have started studying Adolf Hitler and Mao, and the specific ways that they manipulated large populations into following them. In the face of growing scrutiny, Jones and Marceline adopted several children together, many of whom were non-white, whom he would later call his rainbow family, a term he also used to describe his temple's congregation. Jones claimed the couple adopted because integration is a more personal thing to me now. It's a question of my son's future. Their children included Agnes, who is part Native American, Lou, Stephanie, and Suzanne, who were all three Korean American, Jim Jones Jr., who was African American, and Tim Glenn Tupper, who was white. The couple also had a biological son, whom they named Stephen Gandhi. Jones encouraged members of the People's Temple to also adopt orphans from Korea as the war raged through the country. During the mid-1960s, a small congregation of about 100 people moved up to Northern California and the Redwood Valley. Then, in the early 1970s, the ambitious Jones later expanded his following and decided to relocate his then 1,000-follower congregation's headquarters to San Francisco, while also opening a temple in Los Angeles. It was here in San Francisco that Jones truly rose to fame. The charismatic leader was soon nationally recognized by his trademark black sunglasses, perfectly tailored suits, and slicked back black hair. Jones began to
See? Told you. If cults aren't born here in California, they expand pretty quickly, especially back then. Even now, fuck it. But back then, the hippie era, yeah, there were a lot of cults. And I can fully understand why, A, he would have picked San Francisco, and B, why he was so prevalent there, because, I mean, again, hippie culture, Vietnam War was going on, there was just a whole bunch of shit happening, and this dude just took advantage of it, and rode that wave all the way to, I guess, fame of sorts. He definitely is famous. I mean, not for the best reasons, but he's pretty famous right now. Ugh.
Publicly donate to charitable causes that fought racism, championed black causes, built elderly nursing homes, gave clothing to those in need, and supported rehabilitation centers for drug users and prostitutes. The People's Temple started to run social programs to help the needy by offering a free dining hall, medical aid, and even complimentary legal aid services. By the late 1970s, the numbers of People's Temple members are estimated to have been around 20,000. As his power and followers grew, his idealistic rhetoric culminated in fiery speeches at the pulpit. In these speeches, Jones talked of a better life for all, while also condemning sex and romantic relationships. He created a unique mix of ideologies, preaching his gospel against racism with a distinct communist and socialist message, such as his claim that if you're born in capitalist America, racist America, fascist America, then you're born in sin. But if you're born in socialism, you're not born of sin. He even started to reject the Bible in his teachings, claiming that it was used to oppress women and anyone who wasn't white. He reportedly slammed a Bible onto a table and shouted, "I've got to destroy this paper idol." Jones was charismatic and attracted people from all walks of life. To his followers, he was promising to create a church without racism and sexism, and vowed to build a world free of discrimination. In a mesmerizing sermon, Jones calls for liberation for all.
We're not going to look to the past. We're going to have our own liberation today. We're going to have our Messiah today. We're going to have our deliverance today. Today is our day of salvation.
Soon, Jones started to make the outlandish claims that he was reincarnated as some of the world's greatest leaders, all at once, including Jesus, Gandhi, Father Divine, Gautama Buddha, and even Vladimir Lenin.
My man he went full-blown Kanye there. What happened? Damn. I mean, come on. That's like extreme narcissism there. Obvious red flag that we're not headed in a good direction. And, you know, like I understand like one, of all of these, but all of them combined. And again, like, there wasn't one person. I could have kind of questioned that, like, really? But, right? I don't know.
One follower, Terry Buford O'Shea, said that when she met Jones at 19, she was sure that he had the ability to read minds and even cast spells. She recalled being both entranced by him and terrified. Despite his rhetoric about creating a better, more equal world, much of the donations that his followers gave to the People's Temple ended up right in Jones's pocket. In some cases, people gave him everything that they had, indoctrinated by his message for the common good. In addition, negative press started to circulate, as it was revealed that Jones demanded that followers referred to him as Father, or Father of all. Jones also required followers to give up all of their belongings upon entering, including their houses and even the custody of their children, so that they could be raised communally. Soon, Jones was also accused of faking his ability to heal cancer, beating his followers as a form of corporal punishment, and having multiple affairs with members of the temple. Despite his
Well, now, that plot thickened really quickly there. So yeah, I'm guessing my man wasn't feeling Jesus in his heart, I guess, because I mean, this man's a nut job, and the more the story goes on, the more I'm convinced that, like, this man he's like a extreme narcissistic sociopath. I don't know about the sociopath part, but definitely extreme narcissism. If anyone else in chat has any other term I can use for him that's like, that would be like kind of on point with him. So I said extreme narcissism. Do you think he's a sociopath? I'm not sure. Could he have a little bit of psychopathic tendencies, maybe? I'm not sure. I'm thinking over it in my head as well. He's a crazy mofo. That is. We're on the same page with that one. He is an insane fucker. Yeah. I don't know. Just look at that face. Ooh.
speeches condemning sex, these affairs even produced children, including a son named Jim John, with the church member Carolyn Layton, and later a son, John Victor, with Grace Stone. As more damning stories were released...
Hi Tori, thank you so much for joining chat, I appreciate that. Indeed, he is a sick fuck. He is a one-of-a-kind sick fuck, that is true. His again, yeah, the way he was, the way he manipulated people was very unique, I might say. He does sound like he has some sociopathic tendencies, yeah. I think so too. I think he does have sociopathic tendencies. Maybe not this, maybe, I think you're right. Maybe not the psychopathic tendencies. Hello to you too, Tori. Yeah, I'm not sure if it's maybe like, or maybe maybe a little bit of both. But again, the one I am 100% sure is this extreme narcissism. Woo! He knocks it out the park with that.
Including the rumor that he was addicted to drugs, Jones became distrustful of those around him and started to travel with bodyguards. Yet, even with the growing negative press around Jones, many continued to flock to him and his message. Harvey Milk, the first ever openly gay politician elected to California, attended a congregation of the People's Temple and wrote to Jones saying, "Reverend Jim, it may take me many a day to come back down from the high that I reached today. I found something dear today. I found a sense of being that makes up for all the hours and energy placed in a fight. I found what you wanted me to find. I shall be back, for I can never leave. For many people, Jones was the leader that they craved, with a message that they could follow. Jordan Vilches joined the People's Temple at 12 years old when her 23-year-old sister became one of Jones's followers. She said, "The temple really became my family." Jones's biological son Stephen Gandhi later said, "So much was attractive and unique that we turned a blind eye on what was wrong." Soon, Jones began promising his followers that they would create a social utopia together. And paranoid from the negative media exposés, he and his congregation moved to Guyana, South America. He took a few hundred followers and set up a farm compound known as the People Temple Agriculture Project.
He didn't take one person with him. It wasn't like 2 or 3 people. He took hundreds of people with him. Like, the level of manipulation is insane. I mean, he moved a whole bunch of people, made them move. He made them quit their jobs, sell their houses, give them all their money, give over custody papers of their children. It's like, yo, what? That's crazy to me. I mean, I get pissed off when I go sometimes to the mall and they're trying to like sell me like stuff, like when I'm like going along the thing, let alone, you know, the pressure of giving all of your things away to someone for, I have no idea why. I don't know. Again, I have never been in that situation, so I don't know. And I don't know what state of mind these people were to, you know, to be able to join the cult in and of itself. But sometimes I just take a step back on my end and I'm like, that's crazy. Yeah. I mean, just think about it. Just imagine if someone would just come up to you and say, "Yo, yeah, you know what? Yeah, we're gonna move to a completely different country. Not even like state, because he already moved from state. He made the move from one state to another because they started off in the Midwest and they went all the way to California. Now they're moving to South America. And all of this is just by using words. Sorry about that. That's it. There's no magic to it, or like there's no spell, or it's not, no, like literally it's like him using words. Yeah, the money he stole. Because that's the thing. He made everyone sell their houses and give them their money. They emptied their bank accounts to give it to him. It's insane. And that Harvey Milk thing, I didn't know that. I mean, to each their own, whatever, but damn, that kind of sucks though. Nonetheless, because, yeah, that kind of sucked a little bit. But, as they say, c'est la vie.
In order to create what he called a socialite paradise and a sanctuary for him and his congregation. He claimed that the relocation was sparked by the growing fears of a nuclear holocaust that plagued the 1970s. Many see this move as his attempt to flee from prosecution for possibly stealing from his followers, as well as his illicit relationships. By 1977, Jones and around 1,000 of his congregation, those he called the purest communists there are, had moved to Guyana. The farm compound was soon named Jonestown. Rather than the expected tropical religious paradise, the members of the People's Temple who accompanied Jones soon discovered that it was much more of a prison than a utopia. Once he had sequestered his followers at Jonestown, Jones himself fully